Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation for business owners. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And you guys know me. I love email. I'm an email geek. But I got to tell you that the things that you know about email and the way you've been doing email probably needs to change in 2025. And that's why I've invited MV Braverman to join me. She is the founder of Inbox Welcome, where email deliverability gets done right. MV, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to talk about this because everybody focuses on how good your email looks, what is your subject line, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't take a look at deliverability, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yep. I liken it to an iceberg. At the tip, we think, yeah, is my email pretty? Is my subject line good? But there's a whole lot more under the surface.
So let's dive in. Let's talk about some of the things under the surface that can really change whether or not you get into somebody's inbox and maybe what's harder or easier in 25.
Well, in October of 2023, Google and Yahoo made their announcement that they're really tightening up requirements for bulk senders, and we have been dealing with it ever since. So the brief kind of summary on how they phrased it is authenticate your email. So, with ChatGPT, spams have and scams have just exploded. So you have to prove that you are who you say you are. That's the price of entry into the inbox, which we're totally grateful for, but can be also a challenge. Make it easy to unsubscribe. I mean, we have seen these really marketing tactics where someone makes the unsubscribe link in 6-point font and light gray text. Please, the power is in the hands of the email inbox owners and the providers.
Absolutely.
Don't assume that you can just keep sliding into the inbox.
And, the reality is if people don't want you, they're not reading your email. You are kidding yourself that somehow you're going to break through. If you just drip water on them long enough, they'll surrender. They won't.
Yes, exactly. And the last one, the last pillar is send emails that people want. So keep your spam rates low. And so ideally below 0.1%. That's 1 out of 1,000 subscribers. And definitely under 0.3.
Absolutely. Okay, so I know that it is important that I verify my identity. How do I do that? How do I make sure that the inboxes I'm delivering to know who I am?
For the most part, your email marketing platform will help you set it up. Unfortunately, that the easy option that they offer of doing it for you is not actually the best one. The problem with this is that, and to get a little bit technical, but we have the three things, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. The big one that's now required is DMARC, but it sits on top of the others and it covers your entire domain. So the problem I'm seeing a lot with people who have used the easy automated option from the email marketing platform is that they set it up perfectly for their email stream, but not for all the other streams, like the one-on-one emails. If you have a WordPress site, your contact forms. We send different emails through different channels. Almost no one is just Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever. And so the problem is that we're not setting up everything else. And the other problem is the R, which is my favorite letter in DMARC, stands for reporting. It gives you insights into how your emails are seen by Microsoft and others. You wouldn't actually get this anywhere else. But these default settings by your email marketing platforms don't set you up for reporting.
Oh, okay. So when I verify my email address with MailChimp or Constant Contact. What I'm doing is setting it up so that anything that goes through their server is
Exactly. Is
perfect, which is
is is authenticated. Yes.
yes, that which is great, and that protects them and it protects me in those campaigns. But what you're saying is if I'm sending emails through my standard email server, an auto response form that comes from something else, that's not covered. So how do I set up that DMARC so that all of my emails are covered and so that I get the reports?
I have a DIY guide that you can follow. It's pretty high level because of course there's lots of different configuration, but it'll walk you through thinking about every email channels. Some of them you might not even think about. Like a lot of businesses I know use things like Help Scout to handle their customer service. And again, other channels that we don't know about until we see a problem in the DMARC report.
So that if you're running into a situation where you've got some auto response campaigns, for example, you send out a proposal and it goes from the proposal system, not from your email, or you're sending out an invoice through an invoicing
Yeah.
system. And if you're hearing, hey, I didn't get that, I didn't see that, that's one way to know you have a problem. But that's really
Yeah.
the last resort. You really want to get on the front end of that. And that's where checking out this DMARC guide will be helpful.
Yeah. And again, some of these are sent directly from the platform,
Mm-hmm.
which causes other issues, but we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to go into that. But like things like DocuSign and others
Mm-hmm.
actually usually send it from their own email
And
address.
and when they send it from their email address, then they've already done that verification, so it
Right.
ensures the deliverability.
Yes.
Okay, as I'm thinking about email marketing in 2025, besides deliverability, what else should I be paying attention to, thinking about, looking at to make sure that people are reading, getting my emails and reading them?
I mean, I think that everything should be looked at through the lens of deliverability, which is, and to make a distinction, so the difference between delivery and deliverability. Delivery is what you see in your dashboard, like a constant contact dashboard says, 99% of the emails you sent were delivered. That just means that the server accepted them. They didn't bounce. But you have no idea where they actually ended up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's deliverability. Did they go into spam? Did they go into, where did they go? And I personally think that we should look at everything through the lens of deliverability because, like, when I do an audit, I look at all of the aspects. I look at the tech, I look at your content, and I look at your relationship with your customers. Because it's no longer about the spam keywords or whatever. Please don't. If you see someone giving you a tip about spam keywords, just ignore them
I
because they're
mean,
years out of date.
I
There are
mean, yeah,
no.
yeah. I think that if it was a bad word 5 years ago, still don't use it, but don't believe that just fixing those keywords is going to fix everything.
Like, just because you say free in all caps in your subject line does not mean everything's going to go into spam. It's what people expect of you and what they open, because that's really what these mailbox providers are looking at. They have so many data points. How long do you read? What do you look at? And so back to what's important is making it as easy as possible for your person to read your emails. So focus on accessibility. Focus on being mobile friendly, but also desktop friendly. Because now I'm seeing a lot of emails that look terrible on my desktop, but look great on my phone. Focus. Don't forget about dark mode. I am seeing so many emails that look terrible in dark mode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people, we don't have super hard data, but at this point, we kind of know that about a third of readers are dark mode only, about a
Wow.
third are light mode only,
Mm-hmm.
and about a third, like me, alternate.
Mm-hmm.
Like during the day, I'm light mode, and then, but do not forget it, because if you ever look at your emails, you might be surprised.
And that's where I think a lot of email providers give you options that you probably shouldn't use. For example, all those different color fonts, the more you mess with that, the worse it gets when you switch from dark to light, because when you change that color, you are essentially overriding the automatic shift because you said, whatever you do, keep this white. Well, that
Yeah.
works in some cases and not in others.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
don't have image only emails. I
Oh,
know they look
gosh.
super pretty and people love them, but they're not accessible. They're not searchable. If I want to come back to it later, I won't be able to find it. And especially looking to the future, we now going to have AI summarizers summarizing your
Mhm.
email. If your email has no text, there is nothing there to summarize.
Absolutely. Well, and okay, I'm going to even take you back. I download all my emails without images. I have my
Same.
setting in Google that
Yep.
unless you're you and I have a relationship where I have said always show me the images, I don't see images. So I get a
No.
lot of blank emails. Yeah,
Yes. And that's very
absolutely.
unfortunate. I do too. We're a pretty rare exception, but there's gonna we still have bandwidth issues.
Hmm.
Your images may not download.
Absolutely.
And again, there's people who have accessibility issues. Please don't forget them as well.
Absolutely. Envy, this has been great. Thank you so much for sharing some comments and some ideas on email deliverability. I think it's a really important topic within the realm of email marketing.
I agree. It's under the surface, but it is very important. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for having me visit your home and let me talk about my favorite topic.
Sounds great. Well, I'm going to encourage any of you, if you're curious about your email deliverability, if you want to learn more, there'll be a link to MV's website in the show notes, and definitely check it out and download her guide because I think it'll really help you improve how many people actually see your email.
Okay.
And if you've enjoyed this conversation, if you'd like to find other resources for your business, be sure to check out morethanafewwords.com. You'll find hundreds of conversations just like this one, along with workbooks and webinars, white papers, and so much more. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.